Ever felt like the more you try to be good, accommodating, understanding, the less you're truly seen, valued, and most importantly, cherished? You bend over backwards to meet expectations, anticipate desires, smooth over every rough edge, basically tiptoeing through your own life. And what do you get in return? Silence, being taken for granted, or, if you're lucky, a condescending pat on the back. Maybe you recognize yourself as the woman who always says yes, even when every fiber of your being is screaming no. The one who takes on other people's work because who else will do it? The one who stays silent when her opinion differs, just to keep the fragile peace. If this sounds like you, then it's time to hit the brakes. It's time to forget everything you thought you knew about good girls, because that concept, drilled into us since childhood by society, family, and culture, often becomes a trap. It's a cage woven from self-denial and others' expectations. A gilded cage that might sparkle on the outside, but it's suffocating you from within. Carl Gustav Jung, that incredible explorer of the human psyche's depths, would tell you that striving to be exclusively good is a surefire way to lose yourself. It's how you build up a false persona, that social mask we present to the world to gain acceptance. But no matter how perfect that mask seems, it hides your true self, your core being, and as long as you're wearing it, the world can't see and love the real you. The you that deserves to be valued and cherished, not for being convenient, but for being authentic. Today, we're going to journey together towards that real you, towards the woman who's been dormant under all those layers of goodness. We'll break down 6 crucial lessons, inspired by Jung's wisdom, lessons that will help you shatter the good girl shackles and become a woman whose value doesn't need to be proven, because it's self-evident. A woman who isn't just tolerated, but treasured, whose presence enriches, not just fills a space, ready for this transformation. Let's dive in. Lesson 1. Acknowledge and embrace your shadow. Stop being only light. The good girl is terrified of her shadow. She suppresses her anger, believing it's destructive, an unforgivable character flaw. She hides her selfish desires to avoid seeming greedy or ungrateful. She downplays her strength so she won't come across as too assertive, because good girls are supposed to be gentle and yielding. She strives to be the epitome of light, kindness, and forgiveness, a walking, talking angel. But Jung taught us that the shadow isn't pure evil, not some dumping ground for vices. It's an integral, though often rejected, part of our psyche. It's the vault where we store everything we've deemed unacceptable for our conscious identity. Suppressed instincts, like healthy aggression for self-defense, repressed emotions, envy, jealousy, fear, unrealized talents, those that might have seemed unladylike or not serious enough. And yes, that very badness, which might actually be your untapped power, your life force. The shadow also harbors spontaneity, creativity, and that wild woman archetype who knows exactly what she wants. When you deny your shadow, you don't become better. You become a watered-down, incomplete version of yourself. That suppressed energy doesn't just vanish. Like steam in a sealed kettle, it either erupts in uncontrolled outbursts of rage over trivial things, passive aggression, sarcastic remarks, forgetting things important to others, unexplained anxiety, depression, or very often, it gets projected onto others. You start seeing in those around you the very bad qualities you don't acknowledge in yourself, judging them with a particular passion. Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate. The fate of being misunderstood, undervalued, and used. To be truly valued, you need to be whole, and wholeness is impossible without integrating the shadow." This doesn't mean becoming bad or selfish in a destructive way. It means acknowledging and accepting all parts of yourself. Your anger can be a signal that your boundaries have been violated and the fuel to defend them. It can indicate injustice, Suppressed anger turns into resentment. Integrated anger becomes the strength to stand up for yourself. Imagine, instead of silently seething when a colleague takes credit for your ideas, you calmly but firmly say, "Actually, that was my concept, and I'm glad it resonated." Your selfish desires might be pointing to your true needs, which you have every right to meet. Wanting to rest when everyone around you demands your attention isn't selfishness, it's self-care. Your assertiveness isn't aggression, it's the ability to pursue what you want and advocate for what's important to you. It's the energy to achieve your goals. When you embrace your shadow, you gain incredible strength and authenticity. You stop being the predictable, good girl who's easy to figure out and manipulate. You become a vibrant, real, multifaceted individual, interesting and unpredictable in the best way. And it's precisely this authenticity, this inner honesty, that commands respect and makes others take you seriously. People are intuitively drawn to those who aren't afraid to be themselves in their entirety, dark sides and all. They sense that inner foundation, that courage to be imperfect, and it evokes deep respect, not a desire to exploit. Think about it. What qualities do you consider bad in yourself? What do you judge yourself for? Perhaps that's where your untapped potential, your suppressed life force, and the key to being genuinely valued lies. Start keeping a shadow journal, noticing these moments. Lesson 2. Establish unyielding boundaries. Your soul is not a revolving door. Good girls often confuse kindness with being a doormat and love with self-sacrifice to the point of complete exhaustion. They're afraid to say no, lest they offend someone or, even worse, face rejection. They tolerate disrespect, rudeness, and neglect to keep the peace, often an illusory peace. They shoulder other people's problems because someone has to help, even if this help turns into a draining rescue mission. Their personal boundaries are blurry or non-existent, as if their own space is public property where anyone can waltz in unannounced. Jung would say such a woman has over-identified with her persona, the social mask of the obliging, can't-say-no person, and lost touch with her true self, her essence, her inner core. Boundaries aren't walls that isolate you from the world and make you lonely. They are the sacred perimeters of your identity, defining where you end and another person begins. They protect your time, which isn't infinite, your energy, which isn't limitless, your values, which may differ from others, and your emotional, the right to your own feelings, and physical space, the right to bodily autonomy. Boundaries come in various forms: physical, personal space, touch; emotional, not allowing others to dump their negativity on you, not taking responsibility for others' feelings; mental, the right to your own opinion; and temporal, not letting people be consistently late for meetings with you or demand your time 24/7. Without clear boundaries, you become easy prey for manipulators and energy vampires who instinctively sense who they can feed off, who won't push back. To be truly valued and cherished, you must learn to say no without guilt, without lengthy apologies or excuses. No to inappropriate requests. No to toxic interactions. No to violations of your personal space. This isn't selfishness, it's self-respect in action. Jung emphasized the importance of the individuation process, becoming oneself, a separate, unique individual, not merged with others. And setting boundaries is a key stage in this process. It's a declaration to the world: I exist, I matter, and I am to be reckoned with. When you start defining your boundaries, several important things happen. You teach others how they can and cannot treat you. People are adaptable. If you let them walk all over you, they will. If you clearly, calmly, but firmly communicate that certain behavior is unacceptable, they will either change their attitude if they value you, or disappear from your life, which is also fine if they're toxic. For example, if a friend is constantly late, you can say, I really value our time together, but my time is valuable too. I can wait 15 minutes, but after that, I'll have to leave. I hope you understand. You start respecting yourself more. Every time you defend your boundaries, your self-esteem grows. You feel your strength, your significance. It's like training an inner muscle of self-respect. You attract people who respect boundaries, both yours and their own. Healthy relationships are built on mutual respect, which is impossible without acknowledging each person's personal limits. Those who have healthy boundaries themselves will understand and accept yours. Start small. Identify what's unacceptable to you in communication, in relationships, at work, and the next time someone tries to cross that line, calmly but firmly say, "That's not okay with me. That doesn't work for me." Or, "I'm not willing to discuss, do that." It might be scary at first. You might encounter surprise, hurt feelings, or even resentment from those used to your constant compliance. This is the discomfort of growth. Jung said, "The meeting of two personalities is like the contact of two chemical substances. If there is any reaction, both are transformed." While this quote is about relationships, the essence of meeting oneself also leads to transformation and can be uncomfortable. Remember, you'll only be valued and cherished when you start valuing and cherishing yourself. And your boundaries are the first line of that self-defense and self-worth. It's a declaration of your sovereignty. Lesson 3. Stop seeking external approval. You are your own chief judge. The good girl lives in a state of constant dependence on others' opinions. Her self-esteem fluctuates based on whether she's praised or criticized, accepted or rejected, liked on social media or ignored. She's like a weather vane, turning whichever way the wind of others' judgments blows, or an actor on stage, constantly looking to the audience for applause. It's an exhausting, endless race for approval that's impossible to win, because you can't please everyone, nor should you try. Jung would call this an excessive orientation towards the external world, towards the collective unconscious and its expectations, at the expense of one's own inner voice, the voice of the self. Often, behind this lies a loud inner critic and the internalized voice of judgmental parents or significant figures from the past, constantly whispering, "You're not good enough." The self, according to Jung, is the center of our psyche, our true I, the archetype of wholeness, striving for self-realization and the harmony of all parts of the personality. It's your inner compass, your source of wisdom. When you constantly seek validation of your worth externally, you cut yourself off from this internal source. You hand over the remote control of your life, your mood, your self-esteem to others, and those hands may not always be kind or objective. External approval is fleeting and unreliable, like the weather. Today you're praised, tomorrow you're criticized. Relying on it is like building a house on sand. To be truly valued, you need to shift your focus from external judgments to internal ones. Start listening to yourself. What's important to me? What do I believe is right, even if it goes against popular opinion? What brings me joy and satisfaction? Not someone else. This doesn't mean becoming deaf to constructive feedback, but it means that others' opinions cease to be the determining factor for your self-worth and your decisions. You become your own authority. The process of individuation, which Jung wrote so much about, is the path to achieving this inner autonomy, to integrating the persona, social mask, and the shadow around the center of the self. It's the realization that your value doesn't depend on how many likes you get, how many compliments you receive, or how many people admire you. Your value lies in who you are, unique and irreplaceable, with all your strengths and flaws. How to start this shift? Practice self-reflection. Ask yourself, why am I doing this? For myself or for someone else? To gain approval or because it aligns with my values? What do I really feel about this? Keep a journal where you honestly answer these questions. Make decisions based on your values, not on the fear of judgment. Even if it means going against the majority opinion or disappointing someone, It's tough, but every such step strengthens your inner foundation. Praise yourself. Notice your achievements, even small ones. Acknowledge your efforts, not just the results. Be kind and compassionate towards yourself, as you would be to a best friend. Practice self-compassion. When you stop desperately needing others' approval, something magical happens. Your inner confidence becomes so palpable that people start gravitating towards you, as if to a source of light and stability. They sense your independence, your self-sufficiency, and it commands deep respect. A person who values herself doesn't need others to confirm her worth. It simply is, radiating from within. And it's precisely such people who are truly valued and cherished because they can't be bought with flattery or broken by criticism. Their center is within themselves, unshakable and radiant. Lesson 4. Speak your truth, even if your voice trembles. Silence isn't always golden. Good girls often choose silence to avoid conflict, to avoid seeming argumentative, difficult, or inconvenient. They swallow their grievances like bitter pills, agree with things they vehemently disagree with, and smile when their heart is aching. They're afraid their truth might destroy relationships, tarnish their good image, or provoke anger and rejection. But Jung warned that what we resist, in this case, expressing our truth, persists and even intensifies. Suppressed truth, unexpressed feelings, hidden disagreements. All these accumulate in the shadow, in the personal unconscious, poisoning the soul, creating inattention, and paving the way for passive aggression. Psychosomatic illnesses, headaches, stomach problems, body tension, and ultimately for even bigger, explosive conflicts when the last straw breaks the camel's back. Silence bought at the price of self-betrayal is never golden. It's lead, weighing you down. To be truly valued, it's crucial to learn to speak your truth, authentically, honestly, even if it's scary and unfamiliar. This isn't about being rude, harsh, or brutally honest without considering others' feelings. It's about being true to yourself, your feelings, and your thoughts, expressing them respectfully but clearly. Jung believed that genuine, deep relationships are only possible between two authentic individuals who aren't afraid to show each other their true faces. If you're constantly pretending, hiding your true thoughts and feelings, you're building relationships on a lie, on an illusion. And such relationships can be neither deep, nor valuable, nor safe. They're as fragile as a house of cards. When you dare to speak your truth, you show respect for yourself. You declare that your thoughts, feelings, and opinions matter, that you are not a non-entity. It's an act of self-assertion in the healthiest sense. You give others a chance to know the real you. Only then can you build sincere connections based on mutual understanding and acceptance, not on guesswork, assumptions, and unmet expectations. People can't read minds. You create space for healthy dialogue and the resolution of real problems. Conflict isn't always bad. Sometimes it's a necessary stage for clarifying positions, uncovering hidden issues, and fostering relationship growth. When you honestly state your point of view and are willing to listen to others, you invite your partner to an equally honest conversation, rather than a gilded silence that leads to resentment and alienation. You free up an enormous amount of energy that used to go into suppressing yourself and maintaining the good girl facade. This energy can be channeled into creativity, development, and building truly meaningful relationships. Yes, your voice might tremble at first. Yes, there might be fear of rejection, judgment, or misunderstanding. But, as Jung said, I am not what happened to me. I am what I choose to become. Choose to become a woman who is not afraid of her voice, her truth. Start small. Express your opinion on a minor issue in a safe environment. Share your feelings with a trusted loved one using I statements. I feel upset when, rather than, you always make me upset. Every time you speak your truth, you become stronger, freer, and more whole. And people begin to respect you for that courage, for that honesty. They understand that they can be real with you, that you won't play games. And that is the foundation for being truly valued and cherished. Not for your convenient mask. Lesson 5. Allow yourself to be inconvenient. You are not obligated to save everyone and everything. One of the main roles the good girl plays so diligently is that of being convenient. Convenient for her parents, to earn their love and approval. For her partner, so he won't leave. For her friends, so she won't be alone. For her colleagues, to be seen as a good team player. She's always ready to help, even at the expense of her own plans, health, or interests. To listen, even when she has no energy or desire to hear another dose of negativity. To adapt, even if it contradicts her deepest desires and values. She's terrified of being inconvenient because that, she believes, could lead to rejection, criticism, conflict, or loss of love. Jung might link this to an over-identification with the caregiver or rescuer archetype, taken to an extreme where caring for others completely supplants self-care, turning into codependency or enabling learned helplessness in others. But the constant striving to be convenient, like a soft doormat everyone wipes their feet on, is exhausting. It turns you into a function, a resource to be used without a second thought. And paradoxically, the more convenient you are, the less you're valued as an individual. You start being taken for granted, like part of the furniture. Your willingness to help stops being an act of goodwill and becomes an obligation in the eyes of others. To be truly valued and cherished, you need to allow yourself to be inconvenient. What does this mean in practice? Acknowledge your own needs and desires and their legitimacy. You have every right to rest, to personal time, to your own interests, to sometimes put yourself first without guilt. This isn't selfishness, it's basic psychological hygiene. Give up the role of universal savior and problem solver for others. You are not responsible for the happiness and well-being of other adults, especially if they haven't asked for your help, or if it drains you and prevents them from growing and taking responsibility for their own lives. Jung spoke of the importance of developing the anima, inner feminine in men, and animus, inner masculine in women, for achieving wholeness. For a woman, this also means connecting with her intuition and feelings, which will tell her when help is genuinely needed and appropriate, and when it turns into meaningless self-sacrifice or indulging others' immaturity. Don't be afraid to disappoint others. If your decisions or refusals cause someone displeasure, those are their feelings and their responsibility, not your fault. You can't control other people's reactions, but you can control your actions and stay true to yourself. People who truly value you will understand, or at least try to. Set priorities based on your own values, not on others' expectations. If an evening with a book is important to you, and a friend invites you to a noisy party you don't want to go to, you have the right to choose the book. When you stop being pathologically convenient, you declare to the world, I am a person, not a function. I have my own needs, desires, and boundaries, and I respect them. This may cause resistance, even aggression, from those accustomed to using or controlling you. But this is a crucial filter. It will weed out manipulators, users, and those not ready for equal, reciprocal relationships from your circle. Conversely, it will attract those who can respect your individuality and your strength to be yourself. And such an inconvenient woman who knows her worth commands far more respect and a desire to be cherished than one who is ready to do anything for others' comfort, because her yes becomes truly valuable, as it's based on free choice, not fear. Lesson 6. Recognize the value of your energy and time. These are your primary resources. The good girl often treats her energy and time as limitless, renewable resources that can be generously handed out left and right without thinking about the consequences for herself. She's ready to listen to others' complaints for hours, becoming an emotional dumping ground, fulfill requests that drain her strength and bring no satisfaction, and participate in activities that don't interest her or are even unpleasant, simply because she was asked or it's awkward to refuse. The result? Chronic fatigue, burnout, apathy, a weakened immune system, and a deep-seated feeling of being used, that her life is passing her by, wasted on others' needs. Jung viewed libido not just as sexual energy, but as general psychic energy, the life force that fuels all our aspirations, creativity, and development. And this force is not infinite. It requires careful handling and replenishment. To be truly valued and cherished, you must learn to value your energy and time as your most precious, irreplaceable assets. This means consciously choosing what and whom you spend them on. Not every person and not every task deserves your full attention, engagement, and the precious minutes of your one and only life. Conduct a kind of energy audit. What fills me up and what drains me? Learning to say no to things that exhaust you, don't bring you joy, or contradict your goals and values. Remember, your time is the fabric of your life. Every yes to one thing means no to something else, possibly more important to you, creating and protecting space for recovery. Rest, solitude, sleep, activities that replenish you, hobbies, creativity, nature, meditation. These are not luxuries, but necessities for maintaining your physical, emotional, and mental health and energy balance. You can't pour from an empty cup. Setting priorities. Not all tasks are equally important. Learn to distinguish the urgent from the important and focus on what truly moves you towards your goals and brings satisfaction. When you start treating your resources with care and respect, something amazing happens. Other people start to value them too. If your time and attention become less readily available, their value in the eyes of others increases. It's a basic law of psychology and economics. We value what doesn't come easily, what is scarce, or what requires effort to obtain. If you're always available at the snap of a finger, your availability is devalued. Jung spoke of the importance of a conscious attitude towards life. This includes the conscious management of your energy and time. Ask yourself, after interacting, with which people do I feel replenished, inspired, and after which do I feel wrung out like a lemon, irritated, tired? What activities, thoughts, or situations give me energy and which suck it away like a black hole? Where does my time go daily, and does it align with my true priorities and desires, or am I living by someone else's agenda? When you start making conscious choices in favor of what nourishes you and decisively refuse what destroys or depletes you, you will not only preserve and multiply your energy, but also become more attractive and valuable to those around you. They will see that you are a woman who knows her worth, who respects her needs, and who doesn't allow herself to be used or wasted. And it is precisely such a woman, fulfilled and radiant from within, that one wants to value, cherish, and be near, because her energy is pure, strong, and inspiring, not draining. She becomes a source, not a sewer. The journey from being a good girl, perpetually striving to earn love and approval, to becoming a woman who is truly valued and cherished, isn't a path to selfishness, callousness, or turning into a bitch, as some might think. It's the path to your authentic self, the path of individuation, as Carl Jung would call it. It's a journey that requires the courage to look into your shadow and accept its gifts, the bravery to establish unyielding boundaries, the resolve to rely on your inner compass rather than others' opinions, the honesty to speak your truth, even when it's difficult, the permission to be inconvenient for others but comfortable for yourself, and the wisdom to value your priceless resources, time and energy. These 6 lessons aren't just a set of rules. They are guideposts, beacons, on the path to your wholeness, your authenticity. And when you find this wholeness, when you begin to value, love, and cherish yourself unconditionally, the world will inevitably respond in kind. You will no longer need to earn love and respect. They will become a natural reflection of your inner strength, your self-worth, and your genuineness. People will be drawn to your light, your honesty, your fullness. Forget everything you thought you knew about good girls. Let go of that role, which has become too tight and suffocating. Become the woman who knows who she is, what she wants, and what she deserves. A woman who isn't used, but treasured. A woman who is valued and cherished not for her convenience, but for her unique essence, because she herself is the greatest value in her own life, the master of her destiny, not a victim of circumstances or others' expectations. And this truth, once deeply understood and lived, changes everything. Start this journey today, step by step, and you will see how not only your sense of self changes, but also the world around you. It will begin to reflect your newfound, reclaimed value.